Hi everyone, I'm the creator of Blazing Macros, and in this video we're going to set up and install the Blazing Macros application, and we're going to talk about its most important features. So let's get to it. First of all, go to blazingmacros.com website and download the application based on your distribution. So let's go ahead and do that. While it's downloading, let's go ahead and claim our license key. So for now, the Blazing Macros is in beta mode, so you can get a free license key. Of course, if you don't want to, you can just keep using the application. It has a very generous free tier, so you can do basically most of the operations and steps. You can create all the macros, all the workspaces in the free tier. But if you want to use the pro features, you can go ahead and claim your free license key. So sign in with Google. Once that's done, it will give us a free license key. Okay, let's now go ahead and install the application. Okay, so if you get this pop-up, it's more likely that it is your first time downloading this application, and it's got a known publisher. So since it's my first application, so you will get this error. So if you got this pop-up, you can just click run anyway. Okay, go ahead with the installation. Run Blazing Macros. Okay, initializing Blazing Macros. It won't take much time. It's just running the application. Okay, once that's done, okay, in our first visit to the application, we'll get this error, no license key found. So let's fix that. Let's start with that. So we can go ahead and copy the license key that we got and paste it here to activate the license. Okay, so now it says here that we're on the pro plan, so we have successfully activated the license. Okay, so now let's start by explaining what are workspaces. So workspaces are basically just folders to be able to organize our macros in different directories. So we can of course start by creating my first workspace. Let's create another workspaces, create workspace, my second workspace, and let's give it another color. This is just for design purposes. You can organize your workspaces by color, and in my first workspace we can create a first macro, my first macro, and we can go back to the workspaces tab to see all the different actions that we can execute on our workspace. So of course we can edit the name, the my first workspace v2, for example, and we can also edit the color. So we get this back to v1 and change this color. Okay, we can also duplicate a workspace. So for example, if you have some work done and you don't want to lose your progress, or you're afraid to edit something in this workspace that will compromise your entire work, so you can go ahead and duplicate this workspace. It will duplicate it with all its macros. You can apply the changes that you wanted on the specific workspace and then delete it afterwards. So you can of course after that delete the workspace. And yeah, you can also export a workspace. It will export the workspace with its entirety of content. So it will export the workspace with the macros. So export, and this is very useful if you want to share your macros with your team or with another person. Yeah, and after exporting it, of course, the other person can just my imported workspace, and then he can import the workspace directly in the right here. Okay, and my imported workspace. So yeah, that's it regarding the workspaces. We can go ahead and go into the workspace, the specific workspace view. We can create macros as we saw. Let's create my second macro. Okay, and as for the macros, we can also edit the name. So we can do here v2 Let's change it back v2, and then we can duplicate the macro. So if you have some work done on this macro and you see that you need another macro that has basically uh, that has close enough steps, so you can duplicate the macro and then of course change the name and keep working on this one. So yeah, we can also delete macros. So yeah. So now let's go into the macro view. So for the macro, we'll start by creating some basic steps. So wait for time wait. So it just waits for a specific period of time. Let's copy paste these steps here. So one of the important features is copy pasting. So for example, I can copy these multiple steps and then paste them, and it will always paste after the last selected step. So if I select this last step, it will paste after that. So copy pasting is a really powerful feature. So it can also copy paste between two instances of Bayesian macro. So to test that, we can just minimize this one to the side and as mentioned here, click plus control plus click will open a new Blazing macros instance, and we can open it in on the other side. We can go to the first macro and create another macro, my second macro. Okay, and we can copy steps from one macro to another. So yeah, it is very powerful feature. So let's go ahead and close this one. Yes, leave without saving. And let's refresh this page to get the second macro here. So yeah, another feature is grouping steps. So we will talk about this in more details in a later video, but for now, just we can group steps, give a specific group a name. So my first group, give it a color to distinguish between different groups, and yeah, we can close them and open them. And of course, copy pasting works also with groups. So we can copy paste groups and it will copy also its children, and we can drag and drop steps. Of course, we can drop multiple steps inside a group, or a group inside another group. So yeah, drag and drop in. Also, we can filter steps. So for example, now we have time wait steps. We can only filter by group steps. For example, group. Let me go ahead and click here. Okay, so we have two groups, so we can filter by them, and we can also add a first code, and we can add another filter by first code, and give us our step, unique step. So let's go ahead and clear the filters. Another feature is the menu. So when right clicking on each of the steps, we get a menu. So if we have selected steps, we have a different view here. So we can copy steps like the same as we did with Control C. Group steps has a shortcut Control plus D. We can enable and disable steps. So for example, let's add a mouse click step here. Mouse click, and then add it at the first position. And if we don't want it to be executed, we can just come here and disable step, and when we run the macro, it will ignore it automatically without executing it. And of course, we can do this on the single step scope, or on the selected step. So if I disable steps, it will disable all the selected steps, and of course I can enable them back. uh, we can also edit steps. So we can either click here and click on this button, edit step, or double click the action, and we'll get the same view as before, only this time we'll get the data that we can update. And of course, we can click on edit to edit our macro. And another feature is the metadata. As you can see, every step has a metadata tab, and this metadata is just data that concerns each step. So for example, all the steps have a code, a comment, and can be disabled or enabled. So you can either change the code from here and the comments from here and disable or enable the steps from this menu, or you can double click and you'll see your code here. For example, let's do here time waits code, the code, and we can edit, and we can see here that we have the code, and we can also change it from here v2 and comment v2, and we can double click the step and go to metadata, and we can see that they are updated in here. So it's just based on your preference, you can update it from whenever you want. Okay, so we talked about drag and drop in, copy pasting. You can save the macro by clicking on the Control S, or by just clicking on this button here, and it will save automatically the macro. And yeah, so that's about it regarding the overview. We can get into overview. See you in the next time.